Tom Cruise wasn't thinking of sequels while filming for Mission Impossible 2. The film was released on May 24, 2000 in theaters nationwide. The movie went on to earn $546 million worldwide, making it the highest-grossing movie of the year.
Sorry. Talk to me, Benji.
It's a movie that will always be fascinating, especially as the glaring low point of one of the most dependably enjoyable blockbuster franchises in film history. Not only is Mission Impossible 2 wrongfully rotten, but it also merits high acclaim. While the latter Mission Impossible movies have made an effort to unify the franchise's tone, movies like Mission Impossible 2 stand out like a sore thumb. In the Ethan Hunt story, the second Mission Impossible film is undoubtedly the bad guy. Even when contrasted to its original, which Brian De Palma directed, Mission Impossible 2 feels like a wild pendulum swinging oppositely, entering an entirely separate genre of action movies. But that was the thought precisely 20 years ago. Tom Cruise, the actor and producer, was well aware of the importance of avoiding both a sophomore slump and, more significantly, a remake of the film that started it all.
Okay, now go across the street right in front of you.
The worst possible outcome for the sequel, in Cruise's opinion, was to provide more of the same, and his then co-producer Paula Wagner agreed. The thing is, how do you take a movie and make a second one that makes it unique? Wagner explained at the time. What's unique about it? What's different about it? What keeps the series going? Pushing the Mission Impossible tale meant for Tom Cruise and Paula Wagner taking it in a specific direction, one that distinguished it from their previous adventure with De Palma. Cruise didn't even consider the sequel to be a sequel. Instead, as he stated in a DVD feature for the film, Cruise wants the sequel to be able to stand on its own as a picture. That required hiring a director with a distinctive style. At the time, John Woo was the ideal candidate. Woo thought about the direction Mission Impossible 2 may take. The primary action sequences in the movie served as the framework for Robert Towne's tale, which gave the director some creative freedom. Woo said in the same DVD bonus, "I was suggesting to make this character and the whole movie feel young and full of great energy." He attempted to reconstruct Cruise's Ethan Hunt in the likeness of a classy, swaggering James Bond type to try to create a new kind of hero out of him. There's a reason why so much of Mission Impossible 2 feels like a direct parody of Alfred Hitchcock's Notorious, which starred Cary Grant as a tough guy secret agent. It's still renowned for the simmering chemistry between Grant and his co-star Ingrid Bergman. Grant's dapper persona had a lasting impact on the Bond movies and a similar effect on the Mission Impossible creative team. To position Hunt as a comparable type of heartthrob, Woo's sequel paired Cruise off with Tandy Newton and borrowed the acrimonious love triangle at the center of Notorious. It didn't work, which is unfortunate, but Woo more than makes up for it with his command of operatic action. Whatever you want to say, even if Mission Impossible 2 has aged over the years, its action scenes, particularly in its final act's juggernaut, have lasted for a reason. John Woo uses a heavy hand in several of his sequences, filming motorbike battles from various viewpoints with various cameras moving at various speeds. But that's what makes this specific movie so unique and special. Woo had the freedom to personalize the sequel without interfering with the tone or style of the original, because the franchise was still in its beginnings. You could say that it led to an identity problem, which didn't improve until Christopher McQuarrie joined the team with Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. However, Woo's unique touch at the time was just what the Mission Impossible brand needed. Woo's style was the pinnacle of action cinema in the early 2000s, frequently imitated, never equaled. In the DVD extra, Tom Cruise commented, "You see how this action movie has affected the American action films and different filmmakers that I think admire him or pay homage to him," adding he has his style, his own heart, and Mission Impossible 2's success owed a lot to that particular style. Before the release of Mission Impossible Fallout, the 2000 film held the record for the highest-grossing movie ever made in the franchise. franchise. The film may not have aged as well as the other sequels, but without Woo, there might not have been any more. Cruise stated, "That's why he's the man. He's the Woo." Even while Cruise is a legitimate movie star, the success of the Mission Impossible films was not solely due to his star power. After all, it took more than 30 years after the triumph of the first film to eventually make Top Gun: Maverick, and that blockbuster was one of Cruise's star-making projects. Instead, the beloved cast of the franchise is to blame for the Mission Impossible films' recent upward trend, which has resulted in consistently better ratings and box office. The success of the Mission Impossible series is based on the same element that keeps the Fast and Furious franchise consistently popular, a rare feat for a long-running franchise. No stunt is too risky for Cruise regarding the Mission Impossible series. That's because Cruise's standing as one of Hollywood's top actors is only being upheld by the film series, which is now almost 20 years old. If you look at Cruise's most recent films that aren't Mission, it could be a more appealing picture. Over the previous 8 years, only Edge of Tomorrow, one of Cruise's non-Mission Impossible films, has brought in more than $100 million domestically. He no longer plays the imposing movie star in a run of enormous blockbusters. Instead, he now plays a trustworthy character actor in modestly budgeted movies. Recent films with modest budgets like Edge of Tomorrow and Jack Reacher have made money by doing well internationally. However, these films aren't the blockbusters in which famous stars like Cruise are typically cast. And even if the center stage celebrity receives the $20 million payment he once routinely received, they make no kind of profit. As the movie's producer, that will only happen if Cruise approves, and the actor will likely abandon Mission Impossible. Expect Cruise to continue around even when the franchise no longer needs him, as it's the only location where he's still a glistening, high-paid movie star. According to sources, Cruise has agreed to work for less money on these smaller projects in order to support their production. That was a wise move on Cruise's behalf because it increased the likelihood that the movie would make money, and he would always get a good piece of that pie. However, only some studios are prepared to shell out a sum of money to cast the 52-year-old as the lead in the films. That was, for the most part, the appropriate choice. So, without Mission Impossible by his side, Cruise could hold his career up, but without it, his acting career would have been long gone. In conclusion, Mission Impossible 2 is an essential milestone for Tom Cruise's career and has a lasting legacy in modern action movies. It showcased his ability to take on physical roles while retaining his charm and charisma, which endeared him to audiences worldwide.